You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning and welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvin Butonoff, coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up a little bit later on this hour after the 10:30 news, a segment we call Audio Sorbet, where we talk about things outside of the news so we can all catch a breath. Today is National Coffee Day, Greg Bach.
Yes, it is.
So we're going to talk about, do you drink coffee? How much coffee do you drink? Coffee prices are up 20% right now. Will you be changing your coffee habits anytime soon? Maybe you don't drink coffee. I know Pat's producer, Pat Kreitlos, producer Parker, they get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't drink coffee. He drinks water.
The youth.
The Utes.
Kids.
The Utes. Well, so we're gonna be talking about coffee later on this hour in Audio Sorbet, and then we'll wrap up the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it's the Cover Me edition, so stay tuned for that. Right now, we are delighted to be joined by our next guest. He is with UW-Madison. David Drake is here. I call him my bird buddy, but he is all things with wildlife and outdoor things. Good morning, David. How are you?
Good morning, Jane. And I have never drank one cup of coffee in my life.
Never?
Never.
Never, ever.
Never, ever, ever. I don't drink hot drinks. Typically, even in the winter, I don't drink hot cocoa.
Okay,
tea.
all right. I know we're going to talk about birds and the environment. That's great, but can we? Okay, and
we're going to examine you now, David.
I get my brain around the because I didn't start drinking coffee until much later in my life, so I understand that. But you don't do hot drinks at all? Like, how do you?
No hot drinks.
Have you ever?
No.
I mean, I know it doesn't qualify as a drink, but it also you can eat it in a cup. Soup?
Oh, I will eat soup.
Okay.
Or slurp, however you want to verb that.
So he does drink hot drinks.
Well,
Nah,
maybe
it's not. Soup is not. Soup does not qualify as a drink.
I totally
The
expect you to
closest
take a
thing
side.
I get to hot drinks probably is drinking scotch in the winter.
Okay. Fair enough. It makes you warm inside.
100%.
I am.
So even, when you went to college and stuff, you never felt the need for caffeine? Nothing?
No, because I never studied in college, so I didn't need to stay awake. So. No, I was not a model student in college, but do not follow my lead.
Follow his path. That's really funny.
Yes.
Well, again, coffee, we're talking all things coffee after 10:30. So stick around for that. You can be like Dave. I mean, coffee is not good for you.
It's not. Well, it's like anything else. It's in moderation. If you drink a cup or two a day, I don't think anyone's really going to have a problem with it. It's like I had a friend who drank so much coffee and his body became so used to it that when he didn't have enough needed in a certain point in the morning, he'd get a headache.
That used to happen to me.
So that's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're talking all things coffee after 10:30 for Audio Sorbet. Right now, we're talking about birds. We're talking about ducks. And this is a serious thing, quite honestly. Green Bay area ducks, from the Wisconsin Examiner, Green Bay area ducks contaminated with PFAS, and so now they are limiting consumption. Tell us about that, David.
Yeah, so maybe we'll back up for just a minute. I know I'm sure a lot of your listeners have heard of the acronym PFAS, and may not exactly know what it's all about. So let's give a little background on that if we can quickly. So PFAS is PFAS. It stands for perfluoroalkyl or polyfluoroalkyl substances. They are a human-made chemical. They've been around since World War II, and they were initially created as part of the Manhattan Project, which was the atomic bomb project to help us end World War II. And since then, they've been commercialized primarily by DuPont, but there's other companies that have certainly taken up PFAS for commercialization. And depending on the use of PFAS and the state, some uses of PFAS have been outlawed but again, it depends on the use in the state. But they're called a forever chemical, PFAS, because they don't break down and they don't degenerate. And they were now used commercially. They're used primarily for heat, grease, and water resistant properties. So two very common uses of PFAS that people are probably familiar with is one is Teflon. So any Teflon coated cooking ware contains PFAS. It's also a main component in firefighting foam.
Right.
And so a lot of times, especially at airports, where you've got perhaps chemicals that are not going to be extinguished, by water, they'll use that firefighting foam to kind of suck out the oxygen from that fire. But the other thing about PFAS is not only they're forever chemical, but they travel quite well through water. So they're in groundwater. PFAS are in groundwater quite commonly. They are also linked pretty directly to a lot of, especially some cancers.
Yes.
So it's a real issue. It is a real issue. And there's some suggestion that every American has some level of PFAS in their body already, just simply because we've been so exposed to them in so many different types of ways. And so, yeah, so that's the background in PFAS. Now to get back to the wildlife issue is, again, because PFAS is found in soil, but it also, like I said, travels very well in water, especially groundwater. And so the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources just issued a health advisory to not eat mallard ducks, which is a native species of duck, and not eat wood ducks, another native species of duck, in the lower Green Bay area. And in the lower Green Bay area,
is it just specific to that area, David? It is just specific to that lower Green Bay area?
It is for those two species of ducks, but the DNR also just issued a food advisory for Oneida County for some fish species, and they're suggesting I think it was the Moen Lake Chain, MOEN Lake Chain, to not eat any fish out of that lake chain at all right now. They also have an advisory for not eating deer liver. I think around Stella, the town of Stella, which I believe is in Oneida County. And obviously, the liver is kind of the filter of the body. So that would make sense as to why it's accumulated in the body. But a lot of animals that are higher up on the trophic level or higher up on the food chain have PFAS, because PFAS bioaccumulates. So what's happening with those ducks, I'm sure, is number one, they're in the water. And so if they're drinking any of that water, they're probably consuming it that way. But they're also, both wood ducks and mallards are herbivores. So they're eating the plant life that's on that water, and that plant life is absorbing the PFAS in the water. And I'm sure that's how it's getting into the ducks that way. And so, so anything that eats a duck, that's above the duck on the food chain is going to consume that PFAS as well. And so they're issuing health advisories about that. And the other thing I'll just point out quickly is, I know people are concerned about this, rightfully so. And if you are concerned about just PFAS contamination or PFAS exposure, or where it is in the landscape, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources has a very good website that will track PFAS exposure throughout Wisconsin. They also issue the health advisories. So you can go to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resource and you can see the health advisories for the areas of the state, what to eat, what not to eat, things of that nature.
I've got it right here. If you're just joining us, by the way, on Matt and Aaron Air, we're speaking to David Drake, who is a professor from UW-Madison, a wildlife expert, and we're talking about PFAS in our ducks and other animals. And something, and whether or not, I don't know what you know about this, David, is just the fact that when people talk about this topic, PFAS, they might say, well, these are necessary things for our products to do the thing. And well, what can we do? We don't need these PFAS because Minnesota has outlawed them. So there are other ways of achieving these products or doing what we need to do without these forever chemicals as well. So it's actually up to our lawmakers to look at the law or look at the situations and say, all right, what can we do next? That's a whole other conversation about talking to your lawmakers. But I just want to make it clear that PFAS aren't a necessary evil. They can be prevented. They don't have to be used.
And there can be substitutes.
There can be substitute. And speaking to the tracking website, I will have that tracking website in the show notes today from the Wisconsin DNR. So everyone who, honestly, it doesn't even matter where you live in Wisconsin, just check it out, because you never know. If they're using them, they're going to be everywhere. just check it out. Make sure you're keeping yourself safe.
Well, and from what I understand also, David, that one of the problems with PFAS is we don't have an effective way to filter them right now.
Right. Yeah. And let me just back up also. Greg said I'm a wildlife expert, and that is true. I am not a chemical expert. I am not an environmental toxicologist and things like that. So, the PFAS, this is some information I've done some research on in preparation for the show, and
Sure.
And just general knowledge of being aware of PFAS. But please do educate yourself,
Yeah.
and do not take what I say about PFAS for the faith, because I am not an expert on that. So I just do want to caution
Sure.
about that quickly.
Understood.
Sure.
But yes, Greg, my understanding is that there are substitute chemicals. So substitute products. So, for example, like we don't use Teflon in our cooking ware in our house, and it's just simply it's partly for health reasons. It's just simply because I think we found some pans that I think cook better.
Sure.
So there are some substitutes that actually work better. PFAS is in a lot of water resistant clothing, for example. So there's different ways of finding some clothing that may be a substitute for sure. As you get into some of the more specific chemical uses, again, like firefighting foam, I'm not sure what a substitute is for that to put that fire out, but
Right.
I'm assuming there would be something. I just don't know what it would be. But yeah, I think if you want to be careful, you can make good consumer choices, and just do a little research and find out, but if it's not PFAS, it's PCBs, or it's heavy metals, or
Microplastics.
CWD,
Microplastics,
right?
Yeah.
Chronic wasting disease.
Pick your poison,
Yeah.
But we have a history of this. We went through this with DDT back in the 50s and 60s, and then finally outlawed that in the United States in the 70s. And there's bans on salmon. You're only supposed to eat, I think, 1 or 2 salmon a month, depending on where you are up and down the Lake Michigan coast, because of heavy metals like mercury and PCBs. So this idea about having food advisories, unfortunately, is not new. It's just a matter of making sure you're aware of them and educating yourself about them if you're going to consume food off the landscape.
In the 60s, when I was growing up, they used to send a truck through my hometown, which was tiny, to spray for mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And we used to run behind it. And
Yep.
everything is fine except for that third eye in the back of my head. There's nothing to worry about or see. It's all just fine.
That's a useful eye. Really, to take the conversation out into we're going to grab some water and some snacks and come back, though. myvote.wi.gov. If these are concerns of yours as far as the environment you live in, our landscape, our preserving our natural resources, and our own health, go there, talk to your lawmakers, and make sure they understand and they vote in the way that protects us. So, sorry to turn this into a political thing, but we got to raise our voices to let them know we care.
We're going to continue our conversation with David Drake with UW-Madison. We're talking about butterflies on the way. Stay close. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Don't go away.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Buck, Calvinator on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Our guest is David Drake from UW-Madison. We were talking about PFAS in ducks, and I just want to share this real briefly, David, from Ronnie in Horicon. And again, you don't have to comment on this, but one substitute for PFAS and firefighting foam is foam made from soybeans, which is an alternative. And so we'll see if we can track that down. Maybe we can get a hint from Darren Von Ruden when we have him on Wednesday.
Lord knows we need to sell some soybeans in this country.
We could, it'd be good to have a use for soybeans right now. Yes.
I need to go back to something Greg said about vote.wisconsin.gov or whatever.
Myvote.wi.gov.
Yeah, I appreciate that greatly. I just need to mention I need to be agnostic because I'm representing the University of
course.
Yeah, of
Wisconsin
course.
today.
Of course.
So I just want
No,
to
and
say,
that's
leave me out of that. But I
Absolutely.
support what you're saying.
yeah. No,
Absolutely.
that was a
Yes.
bipartisan statement to say,
Yes.
let your voices be heard.
Yes.
No,
I love it. But I was going to mention the same thing about soybeans, Greg.
Yeah. I'm not plugging a political party. I just noticed I got a lot of soybeans to sell, France.
They're available.
Yeah.
Is all we're saying. I wanted to talk with you briefly, David. I saw an article that said that monarch butterflies are on the move. They have started their migration. And for people who don't know this, they have an astonishingly long trip.
Yes, they do. And as a matter of fact, I was just out on Friday at a friend's prairie out west of Madison, and the monarchs galore out there, just taking advantage of the prairie plants. And
Really?
it was wonderful to see them. Yeah, the monarchs are awesome. I mean, they're obviously a butterfly. We don't consider them wildlife. We don't typically think of insects in the wildlife world. But again, I know enough about monarchs to be dangerous, so I'll espouse about monarchs, and they are awesome. That yes, the migration pattern is fantastic. One of the things that I greatly appreciate about monarchs is it's one of the species that it seems like everybody knows them.
Yes.
Everybody can relate to them.
Mhm.
Identify them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like a robin or a whale or whatever the case might be. And that to me is what is more important than anything else about the monarchs, is that people can see them and then they can localize it and they can personalize it, and they say, well, I'm not seeing as many monarchs this year, and so that opens an avenue for saying, well, climate change is affecting the monarchs, or the lack of prairie is affecting the monarchs,
And
we're
milkweed.
having less milkweed and all
Milkweed.
that kind of stuff. And so so that's what I greatly appreciate about the monarchs, is it's a hook to start talking to the public about why should you care about the outdoor world, and what can you do then about that, and that is a wonderful thing about the monarchs,
Well, and
among many other things.
because monarchs are pollinators. Like
Yes,
like
yep.
so many other insects are pollinators, and that's why it's important, if you can, to have native plants in your backyard, especially milkweed. Milkweed is very specific to monarchs. That's the only thing that they will lay their eggs on.
You looked at me with with the eyes of confirmation. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I'm just gonna go with it.
I saw a monarch butterfly once, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. They told me in graduate school just to BS with authority and nobody questions. So just keep doing that, and
Say
you'll
it
be
like
fine.
you believe it and you know what
That's
you're
right.
talking about, and you'll be
Exactly.
fine.
And again, I mean, I know enough about monarchs to be dangerous, but there's been a tremendous amount of research about monarchs and just what's called patch size. So how big of an area of blooming flowers do they need to sustain themselves, to continue on the migration, things like that. And there's some suggestion that even small patches of flowering plants, in some ways boulevard in the city,
Oh, really?
might be enough to where the monarchs can find some refuge there, set down for a minute on their migration pattern, or set down and feed, and even during the summer and things like that. So it's interesting that maybe the monarchs don't need these great big expanses of prairie, like was initially thought, that they may actually survive okay on some of these smaller plots. Yeah, which is pretty cool. And again, we see them here in Madison now, moving through as well, and it's awesome to see a monarch.
They're going to Mexico, right? The monarchs are heading to Mexico.
Yep.
Do the monarchs who make it to Mexico, David, and then overwinter there, are they the same ones that come back?
Let's go with that. I don't know. I don't know.
Is PJ
honestly.
leashed down the street on the
Yeah,
hall?
he's just down the corner from me. He was just down the hall, as a matter of fact.
I just saw you froze. You're like, oh.
Yeah. If you wanted to put him on, I don't know about that. What I will tell you about migratory birds is that yes, it can be the same bird that will come back in that area. But I also do know that migratory birds, depending on the species and depending on the year, that they can suffer some pretty heavy mortalities.
Yeah.
And so the opportunity, or the chance, or odds are that it probably is not necessarily that same monarch that's coming back.
That's a long trip, boy.
That's a long
You have
It
such
is a
little
long trip.
wings.
I know. I go and run. I try to run 3 miles sometimes. I'm thinking, if I can't run 3 miles and a monarch is flying that long, what the heck's wrong with me? Maybe I should
think
start
it's-
drinking more coffee.
No, that'll
Well, if
fix
you
it
just
for
run
you.
to Mexico once and run back, they're like, are you going for a run? No, I did it back in 1992. I'm good.
David Drake is with UW Madison. He is my bird buddy. I really appreciate your time, David. Thank you so very, very much.
Always good to be on with all of you, and thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. We have news coming up next, and then when we return, it is Audio Sorbet, and we're talking about your coffee habits. Maybe you're like David Drake. You don't even touch the stuff. Maybe you're like some of the texts that we're getting in, and you've got fancy ways to coffee. That's all coming up. Stick around for Audio Sorbet. News is next. Keep it here on the vast, statewide, countrywide, pick us up around the globe on the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, our one, our only Cal Zone on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Good morning, live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Before we move on, we do have a clarification from Civic Media News Director Shali Pittman.
Yes, Shali was on earlier in the first hour talking about data centers, and there's going to be a meeting in Caledonia regarding data centers. We spoke about an open records request relating to we
Water usage.
to what, but also in the matter of Caledonia. It was actually, so I'm going to read exactly what she said.
Sure.
While there was a delay with the announcement of Microsoft being behind the Caledonia data center, the open records case related to the data center in Mount Pleasant, the city of Racine did release records to Midwest environmental advocates.
Okay.
It's very important for all of us, especially not just Shali as a news person, but us being news adjacent.
Yes.
To be very, very on key, very on point, and we always
accurate.
and make those distinctions and those corrections. So she asked us to read that, and we did. It has been corrected, so you're fully informed. Please, if you live in Mount Pleasant, anywhere that's looking to get a data center, make yourself aware. They're doing a hard push via the lobbying, making it sound great for. And there are conversations that can be had. But if it concerns you, talk to your elected officials.
Absolutely. And if they're having meetings about it, I would highly encourage you to go to any meetings about this. And the mining meeting that they're going to have in northern Wisconsin as well. That's something that I think folks who live up there need to get involved with. It is the time of the show that we like to call Audio Sorbet.
What happens at Audio Sorbet?
We get away from the news. We take a break, take a breath, and talk about something else.
We clean your ears with fun.
As we say here on Matt Nair on
Is that
Air.
too loud? When I feel like I'm doing it right into the microphone. I mean, that voice that just runs in, that does that. I don't know who it was. It was a person.
He just comes, he shoves his way in. We don't
And
know.
he
who
leaves
it
a
is.
sandwich every time. It's great.
So Audio Sorbet today. Today is National Coffee Day. Didn't know that. National Coffee Day. So we want to talk about your coffee habits. Do you drink coffee? Maybe you don't.
Maybe you're like David Drake, who's never had a hot beverage in his
He
life.
doesn't do hot beverages.
He's never had cocoa?
He was a deprived child.
Oh, we need to. Okay.
Should we send him some?
Let's get him some cocoa, people. I'll even spring for the little marshmallows.
Do you drink coffee? How much coffee do you drink? And now the coffee prices are already up 20%. 20%. Will you be changing your coffee habits? 855-752-4842. That's our question for you today during Audio Sorbet. We're talking coffee. How much you drink? How do you drink it? And will you change your habits now that coffee prices are on the rise? Wanted to share this from Robert from La Crosse, listening on WLCX. He texted in much earlier. He said, I drink only black tea.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot of caffeine in tea. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for some coffee substitute, tea is not a bad way to go.
Yeah, I mean, tea is great. I mean, if you're the Ted Lasso type who thinks it's just hot brown water, I get that too. Actually, a really good one for antioxidants. Wow, people are calling in with opinions.
Yes.
Really good for antioxidants. White tea.
I have never
Very
even heard
good
of
for
white
it's
tea.
Very, very good. Antioxidants galore.
What does it taste like?
It tastes like tea. Yeah, I really like tea. I always tell myself to drink more tea, and then I don't, even though I have all the contraptions that allow me to make a convenient cup of tea in my home. And I just do not, because, and I will admit this, I don't want to engender this with an insult. I'm a baby coffee drinker. I'll say that. I don't drink black coffee. I drink sweetened coffees.
Yep.
I use sweetened creamers, and I do not enjoy the taste of a black cup of coffee. It's very even don't come at me with your
The best.
the
Todd Alva would dispute that.
But that's the thing is like is when we went on our trip, the three of us, he did make wonderful coffee, and I did drink and the good stuff when made correctly can have less bitterness and all that stuff, and I imbibed it. But me, I'm like, I'm going to have a sweet creamer because I want to taste it like a shake. You know?
How do you consume your coffee is our audio sorbet question. Isaac from Baraboo texted in, I drink 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day with a French press.
Ooh.
I used to buy single origin ground coffee from a high-end brand, but now with the current coffee prices, I buy fair trade from my local grocery store. Thanks for that, Isaac. Appreciate it. How do you coffee?
Throw us your suggestions. If you got local good companies that you like, send them our way. We always want to know about them. And you were talking about the prices going up, and I'm not here to dunk on anyone, but there's a certain coffee company that is the color of coffee, a gun, and company. I'm not going to say them out loud, but you can figure it out. But they're very much Trump supporters, and they were like, we're not going to raise our prices a single bit because we source from all over the world, not just Colombia.
How's that going?
Well, they are raising their prices as of this fall. And that sucks because, 1, they have to do that. 2, you kind of have to eat your words. So I feel like instead of coming hard for it all, realize that these tariffs are going to affect us. I don't mean to I'm sorry, no, it's sorbet, but that's an important point of this coffee price thing. It affects your kitchen table economy.
Well, tariffs are affecting all of us.
Even though we don't pay for them, guys.
We are talking coffee. How do you coffee? It is National Coffee Day at 855-752-4842. Troy from Mount Horeb, you were first in. Good morning, Troy. Let's talk coffee.
Good morning. My earliest memories ever were sitting with my grandma. She used to drink Folgers Instant.
Oh.
She had a little, and this was in the 70s now.
Yep.
I'm like 3 or 4, and we used to have peanut butter toast for breakfast with coffee, and she used to boil the water in this little pan or little pot that she only had for boiling water, and we used to dunk our toast in it with a lot of condensed milk and sugar.
That sounds like my kind of cup of coffee.
Ever since. And I'm only 5'8", so maybe that had something to do with it.
You would have been 6'4", otherwise, Troy, you would have been so much taller. Do you remember, were the Folger crystals the ones with the sparkly ones?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Because my mother used to do that. I was fascinated with the sparkles in the instant coffee.
That was a selling point back in the day too. They were like Folger crystals. I'm like, those are the moments as a kid. I don't know about you, Troy, or you, Jane, or anybody listening. Those were like one of those moments in my tiny kid brain where I said to myself, "This sounds stupid. Like, why do we care if you're like there are
because it was pretty."
Exactly. They just want to make your coffee look
sparkly,
drinkable.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Troy. Really appreciate that. Brought back a lot of memories. My mother drank Folgers. The instant.
We had Folgers instant. We had the big pot, and then the big can, and then when the can was done, we'd use that for oil from cooking. We'd put all of the oil in there.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
Anytime someone mentions the word Sanka, someone says, "I'll take a cup of Sanka." Usually it's as a joke or it's an old movie. It makes me laugh so hard because it's such a deep 70s, 80s reference to me.
Yes.
That to hear it in 2025, like, "I'll take a cup of Sanka." Really?
Well, and I just find it so interesting that they actually convinced the public that these coffee granules were better than the actual thing.
What do you mean?
That coffee granules are more authentic than an actual coffee bean. Because that's what they convinced the public. Buy these coffee crystals instead of buying regular coffee.
I thought it was coffee with crystals in them.
No. They're coffee crystals.
Oh, because
it's instant coffee.
Yeah, my parents did not. Okay, my apologies. We're all about truth in advertising and news here. My parents did not do instant Folgers. We did Folgers drip.
Oh, okay.
In the big canister.
Different, completely
so-
different thing.
But yeah, also, instant coffee just, I mean, I never made a successful instant cup of hot cocoa or anything in my life. You always had to put more and more and more. And I feel like instant coffee is just gonna be like, it's chewy.
Well, and it was there's a very specific taste to it. And I think that kind of played into the whole 60s, 70s space food sticks and all of that stuff in the instantaneous. There was this big, it's got to be a miracle thing.
This coffee tastes like flying cars.
855-752-4842. How do you coffee? Maybe you don't. And are you going to cut back now that coffee prices are already up 20%? Al from Campbellsport is on the line. Good morning, Al. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk coffee.
Yes, good morning. Enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I make a 30-cup percolator pot of coffee, and that lasts me probably a week.
Okay.
So
that's,
and I like Colombian.
yeah.
Colombian flavor, that's my best. But
So do you drink so you pre-make all your coffee and you drink it through the week. For you, and I'll ask you, Jane, and anyone else listening, when is your cutoff? You're like, I can't drink it after 2 p.m. or I can't drink it after noon. I know people who drink coffee at 8 o'clock at night. Don't understand those
me
psychopaths.
too.
But do you have a cutoff then for you? Like you parse it out like 5 cups a day or 6 cups a day, and then you're done by a certain time?
yeah, right. Probably around 8 o'clock I quit, and then I drink water or bubbler. I drink bubbler. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
I haven't heard of that.
I like that wild cherry. That's really good.
Yeah, it's like a
Fizzy water?
Fizzy water, yeah, it's tasty. That's interesting. 8 o'clock. Okay, that's good. That's good though, Al. I'm glad you followed it up with you drink water then too, because I think that's another important thing. I know when I haven't had enough water after coffee because my mouth is dry. I can't.
It's very dehydrating.
It's very dehydrating. But it's so delicious. Al, thank you so much for calling. Jane, you're a pretty regular coffee drinker.
I've gone back and forth. When I was in college, that's when I started. I never drank coffee before until I got into college. And then I stopped for a really long time. And then when I moved to Milwaukee and started at the radio station and I was working overnights, then I really hit coffee hard.
Yeah.
And that was when I found if I didn't drink it on weekends, I would get crushing headaches. Just really debilitating headaches.
I did not.
Caffeine is a very, very powerful drug.
It's addictive. People drink it. And I did not start drinking coffee until I was 38. And I don't even remember why I decided then.
Because you wanted to stop growing.
I wanted to stop growing. Yeah, I'd be like 8'12" right now.
He'd be 11 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't
know
even
what to
fit
do
in
with
the
him.
room. It's so, yeah, but now if I quit, it's because I'm quitting sugar, not because I'm quitting coffee.
Andrew from Maine texting in how I coffee with iced tea. I've tried coffee a few times, never developed the taste for it. I do not see a point in drinking sugar unless it's in chocolate milk. Fair enough, Andrew. And Ollie from the Northwoods, you're going to wrap it up for us, Ollie, on this audio sorbet. How do you coffee?
Well, when we were kids, we didn't coffee. We weren't allowed. We had tea and toast for breakfast with canned milk. But when we came back to the States then and visited, we always went to my mom's relatives, and there was always a big, huge enamel pot of coffee on the wood stove, filled with coffee grounds and some eggs, maybe.
Eggshells. Yep, eggshells in the coffee.
Yep.
Ollie, we're running out of time. I'm so sorry to cut you off. Thank you so very much for joining us. Really, really appreciate it. That wraps up today's audio sorbet. Coming up next, we're going to wrap it all up with This Shouldn't Be a Thing, Cover Me edition. You're listening to Matt Nair on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We will be right back.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvitini on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Call or text, join us at 855 752-4842. Leave a comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up tomorrow on the show, our friend and colleague, travel companion, Todd Alba will be here.
Oh, man, I'm going to wear another Brewers jersey. I know he has this style, the you can't see it if you're not watching the live stream, but we have matching Brewers jerseys.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
You got compliments on your jersey, by the way, earlier this morning.
Mm-hmm. It's a custom made with my dad's name on the back. It's awesome.
Oh, very
But
nice.
I can't wait to talk to Todd. He's great.
Todd's going to be joining us, and then Kelda Royce.
State Senator Kelda Royce.
State Senator Kelda Royce joining us in hour number 2.
Will be speaking to us about her bid for the governor's race. She announced a couple weeks ago
a couple
on
weeks.
Todd's show.
Mm-hmm.
And she is going to be on with us talking about what, the campaign trail and what she's going to bring to the table. I think that when we spoke to Dan Schaefer about this, I think that the Democratic side right now has a dynamic group of individuals with a lot of great energy. So it's going to be interesting to see how they campaign against each other, but also just what they, it's a highly, I'm sorry to say the word, diverse lineup on the Democratic side for governor. So
it should be interesting. Kelda Royce, state senator, joining us tomorrow in hour number 2. So I hope you can join us for that. Just a reminder as well that our multi-state text to win going for the green and gold contest is underway all this week. Mm-hmm. This is the second and final week of the contest. In order to enter, you have to have the Civic Media app.
How do I do that, Jane?
Go to your app store.
Oh.
Google Play, for example.
I am an Android boy.
All right. Well, then whatever you do for Androids.
Go. It's the same thing you do.
Okay, go there. And then look for Civic Media, CIVIC. Download the Civic Media app. You have to have it again to enter the Text to Win contest. Tom Hartman, next hour, will have the next keyword for you. And then again in the 1 o'clock hour, in the 3 o'clock hour with Todd, 5 o'clock hour with Maggie Dawn, 7 o'clock hour with Pete Schwaba, up for grabs every day, $200 in cash and gold jewelry. And everybody who enters is in the drawing for the grand prize, 2 club-level indoor seats.
Yeah.
To see Green Bay and Minnesota, November 23rd, noon game. Gas card to get you there and back. It's a great prize.
It's an absolutely great prize. So get the Civic Media app in your life and stay tuned for the next keyword coming up at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock with Tom Hartman.
Yeah.
Calvin, it is 10:55. We are way late. It's time for...
This shouldn't be a thing.
If you ever find a thing you think should not be, send it into Greg and me at janesays@civicmedia.us. This from Christopher Harris on CBS News. He has the byline. The headline reads, police arrest DeKalb man accused of stealing more than 90 manhole covers. DeKalb County Police arrested Kalen Watley earlier this month on charges of theft of government property. Since September 2nd, police say there have been 5 incidents involving the theft of at least 91 manhole covers. Those are really heavy.
I bet you Kalen's a big person.
He must be.
Working out.
Investigators say they finally got a break in the case when a witness, when a witness in Rockdale County recorded 2 men removing manhole covers, placing them into a 2020 Nissan and driving away. They identified the owner, linked him to other thefts, and then later did a traffic stop where Watley was arrested. He is charged with 8 counts of theft of government property with additional charges likely. I want to know the motive.
It may be just a big old fat case of because.
Is there, can you resell manhole covers?
Can you melt them down? Art, I have no idea. This is what I'm thinking right now, is that it said in the story that there was recorded evidence of 2 men stealing the
manhole cover.
Manhole covers. Mm-hmm. And I want to imagine it was sent to the police, and one of the more junior officers said to maybe like a lieutenant, and they said, "Do you think these are our guys?" And the lieutenant goes, "Yeah, I think that's our guys
because we got them on video."
Yeah, I don't really think this isn't an underground syndicate.
We're never gonna crack this case.
Yeah, exactly.
We're never gonna crack it.
Oh, that's my cousin Leroy. Okay, great. This one is just like I don't even. This honestly, Jane. It sounds like a compulsion. Like you guys steal something.
I want to follow up on this.
Yeah.
Because I am genuinely curious what you do with 91 manhole covers.
Maybe we can get Kaylin on the show.
Could be an art project. Who knows? That wraps up today's episode of
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
Thank you, Greg and Calvin, and all of our engineers and everyone at Civic Media. Without you, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and for texting and for listening and watching in the stream. It means the world, genuinely. Yeah. I hope you find some joy today, even if it's just a little bit, and you have the chance to share it.
I just want to remind people, sign up for Civic Media Today, because the free newsletter, civicmediatoday.substack.com. Get it in your inbox every day, daily roundups. Live a good life. Jane, you're awesome. You always end the show with such kind words. You're awesome and amazing and wonderful. And without you, it's just on air.
That's truth. Blank on air. Thank you for
People
that, Craig.
think it's a cuss word.
That makes me feel so special. Have a wonderful day. News next, followed by Tom Hartman. Be ready for the keyword that's coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.